Dante Certification Program Level 3. This module covers troubleshooting. Understanding these concepts will help you in resolving issues that you may encounter in your Dante network, especially if your network is a converged network that involves the IT department. Traffic used by Dante is as shown here. It will be helpful for you to take a note of this chart for future reference. All Dante traffic is UDP/IP. This means that if any traffic to or from these ports and IP addresses is blocked, then the wire carrying that particular service can be considered cut. Dante Domain Manager may use these resources. If you're running Dante Domain Manager, then it's important to ensure that none of these ports are being blocked. A computer's operating system may use a firewall. Look at which applications within the operating system are trying to access the network and apply rules to these connections. Look at which destination IP addresses are being used and apply, permit, or deny on this basis. Can determine whether a network is private or public and decide to permit or deny on this basis. You can also look at much data that has been transferred to and from a specific port or IP address and decide to trigger rules on a threshold. Firewall appliances are simply computers in the network at gateway points. They work in a similar way to an OS firewall. The network switch fabric can have ACLs applied. ACLs have very powerful tools for filtering traffic in the network. Many advanced IT networks will be applying ACLs. Normally, IT departments will not wish to reveal or discuss these. It is possible to expect that the required service be provisioned with the required resources at a port level. There are two kinds of IP addresses to be concerned about. The first one is multicast IP. In Dante, multicast IP addresses only work in a single IP subnet. Second is unicast IP. All communication on a Dante network spanning multiple subnets is unicast. Some switches block IP multicast by default. This might prevent Dante Discovery, Dante Clock, or multicast Dante Audio from functioning properly. When it comes to unicast IP addresses, for a unicast communication to be successful, in a local area network, both devices must be within the same IP subnet. In a routed network, the LANs containing the devices to be connected must be joined together by an IP router. The IP subnet configuration of the router must be correct. Routes must exist between the IP subnets in question. More advanced routers can filter traffic using ACLs just like a switch or a firewall. MAC addresses rarely cause any issues. At Layer 2, ensuring all interfaces on a switch are in the expected VLAN is the most common configuration issue. And finally, Layer 1. When it comes to Layer 1, the question to ask is the wire physically cut? Is the interface open? If you're using fiber, is the signal integrity good? Use respectable test equipment to certify cables and check signal integrity and loss of a fiber assembly. Now that we have gone over some foundational concepts necessary, let's look at some common symptoms and causes. If the device name shows in Dante Controller, but there's no minus or plus sign visible for you to expand channels, and the status view is missing data, you must check firewall settings on your computer's operating system. Check that the interface being used by Dante Controller on your computer is in the same IP subnet as the Dante devices that you wish to control. If the clock gives you unlock or lock warning, this could be a possible multicast block. Check the clock histogram in Dante Controller to confirm. Unicast delay request can be a quick tool to test if this is the case. We covered that in a previous section. Dante clocks can run for a surprising amount of time before falling out of sync badly enough to affect audio. If you see multiple master clocks in Dante controller, this means devices cannot hear multicast sync messages from other devices and they just assume that they're the master. This is normally caused by blocked multicast traffic in the network. Some higher-end Cisco switches have a PTP transparency feature. You can globally configure the switch to pass PTP packets through the switch as normal multicast traffic, to synchronize all switch ports with the grandmaster clock, or you can configure boundary clock mode, where the switch participates in selecting the best master clock and can act as the master clock if no better clocks can be detected. Since Dante can use the existing IT infrastructure, a troubleshooting section will not be complete without including some tips on how to communicate with the IT department. As you're aware, there's a convergence that's happening between the AV and the IT world. As an AV professional, it's very important for you to be aware of how to communicate with your IT department. This course covered the requirements of a Dante audio over IP network in some detail. Configuration details for a particular IT infrastructure vendor's equipment are specific and unique. However, the concepts covered in this course are universal in IP networking, although the terminology may be subtly different in some cases. Through this course, you are expected to have gained understanding of how IP connections are made. This will help you explain requirements for your Dante network to your IT administrator. Understanding bandwidth requirements is useful when you're considering a converged network. Understanding how QoS rules can be applied to optimize performance will become handy in resolving resource issues. Understanding IGMP will be useful to mitigate against the negative perception of multicast that's often seen in the IT world. Networking is about making a lot of parts of an unique jigsaw puzzle work together. This course explains the requirements and performance of the Dante piece of that jigsaw. Remember, an IT department has to make many different pieces fit together, so remain patient as you communicate with your IT department.